Good morning. Mornings in the Word. Thank you for watching today. We have a blessed week. It should be a short week for most of us with Thanksgiving this week on Thursday. So push through and get through these few work days and then have a day off there. So it'll be nice. It'll be a good week. Praise the Lord. Today I want to talk about deliverance and the way the Lord will deliver us sometimes when we are backed into a corner or when we feel like there's no way to get through a certain circumstance or a situation or an addiction or whatever it may be. You know, the Lord, if it's His will create a way. And the passage I'm looking at today is Exodus 14, and it's the Red Sea, splitting of the Red Sea, and that's one of my favorite passages. If you don't know, the 10 plagues came and Pharaoh released Israel from slavery, and the Lord kept hardening Pharaoh's heart where he wouldn't allow it. Finally, he allowed it, and so Israel left Egypt, and they were marching across the wilderness, and suddenly Pharaoh realized, like, hey, I just released all my slaves. All my workforce is gone. Let's go get these guys. So he mounted up his chariots and his armies and everybody he could, horses, everybody, and started pursuing Israel out in the wilderness. And Israel was kind of cornered. They were cornered at the Red Sea, and they were stuck. And off in the distance, they see Pharaoh and his armies. You know, picture coming down a hill with horses running and dust coming up behind him, and chariots going as fast as the wheels will go, and probably war screams. And Israel was freaked out. Like they were totally freaked out, and they turned on Moses a little bit. They're like, Moses, why did you bring us here to die at the Red Sea? We could have died back in Egypt and been fine, and now we're out in the middle of nowhere, and we're going to die anyways. They didn't have a lot of faith. And I don't think we have a lot of faith. I know I don't have a lot of faith sometimes when things start going off course, or when the wheel falls off, man, I really start thinking, like, what am I doing here? But you know, the truth is, God always has our backs. He's got a plan. If God brought us to it, He'll bring us through it. And that's what this picture is. So they were at the Red Sea. They kind of turned on Moses, and Moses said, God, what do I do? What do I do? And God said, hey, Moses, calm down. Put out your staff. Wave it over the Red Sea and just walk through, man. Don't worry about it. Like, God's never fired up. Like people get fired up. We get excited. We get upset. We start yelling. Our emotions start running high. God already knows. His blood pressure is not going up because the Pharaoh and his army are chasing down Israel here. So, all right, I'm going to pick this up in Exodus 14, verse 21, and this is right when Moses is splitting the Red Sea. So, then Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the Lord opened up a path through the water with a strong east wind. The wind blew all that night, turning the seabed into dry land. So the people of Israel walked through the middle of the sea on dry ground, with walls of water on each side. Then the Egyptians, all of Pharaoh's horses, chariots, and charioteers, chased them into the middle of the sea. But just before dawn, the Lord looked down on the Egyptians looked down on the Egyptian army from the pillar of fire and cloud, and He threw their forces into total confusion. He twisted their chariot wheels, making their chariots difficult to drive. Let's get out of here, away from these Israelites, the Egyptians shouted. The Lord is fighting for them and against Egypt. When the Israelites had reached the other side, the Lord said to Moses, raise your hand over the sea again. Then the waters will rush back and cover the Egyptians and their chariots and charioteers. So as the sun began to rise, Moses raised his hand over the sea, and the water rushed back into its usual place. The Egyptians tried to escape, but the Lord swept them under the sea. Then the waters returned and covered all the chariots and the charioteers and the entire army of Pharaoh. All the Egyptians who had chased the Israelites into the sea, not a single one survived. So, we were at church yesterday morning, and one of the worship songs, one of the lines, and I was singing it all day yesterday in my mind, but basically, you split the sea for us. Like you're referencing that as like something that happens regularly, and it, you know what it does. When we get ourselves backed into a corner, or when we think there's just no more hope, God splits the Red Sea in our lives and says, walk through, just go through. And sometimes it's just to deliver us, and sometimes he closes the Red Sea over the problem. Sometimes the problem just gets swept away under the Red Sea, and we're out the other side thinking, why? What was I so worried about? Why was I so upset? God had this handled the whole time. So I want to encourage everyone today to start thinking about times when God has split the Red Sea for us individually, personally in our lives, made a way when there was no way, made made the bills work out this month when there was just no money to do it, yet somehow they worked out. Like, when you got that job that you weren't really qualified for, and there were many other applicants that were way more qualified, but yet you got the job, or whatever it may be. Everybody has an awesome Red Sea story, or a few in their lives. So just think of those today, and remember the Lord who has got it handled. We can get upset, and only thing being upset does is make us probably end up doing something we wish we wouldn't have done. It usually causes us to sin when we get upset. Either we take wrath on somebody, or we curse something, or whatever it may be. We don't put ourselves in a position where God can bless us because we shut the wall down, we close it down, and we're just stuck in our own angry bubble. And that's what the people of Israel were doing. They were so mad right then, like, why would God do this to us? Moses, why would you bring us here? They just let God do his thing. Let God do his thing and be a willing participant. So that's the word for today. Just reflect on all the things you've been given over your life, or even just recently, and thank the Lord for those things today. So let's be thankful today. Thankful for splitting the Red Sea when we had no other way. So tell somebody about Jesus. Invite you all to church, Whole Life Church. We're on US 12, across from Dollar General in Sturgis. We start at 10 a.m. on Sunday. I'll save you a spot. God bless.